Hello guys, it's Cong here. So the purpose of this video is for me to show some of the things I've been looking up for the simulation league, just to show you guys that I wasn't just doing absolutely nothing. So I still have found a few libraries for the Sim 3D and 2D leagues. So that's essentially what I'll show you guys today. Alright. Okay. So there's a Sim 2D library by Team Helios, and I'll show you quickly right now. So I downloaded their source code, they made it public open, and I compiled them. And this is a simple two-player against basically no one example. So here, if I render a client, I'll connect the first player is going to be a goalie. The second player will be one of the players. And if I send the kickoff command, and this player will go to the ball and then kick it off and try to score an opponent's goal. It's all nice. Let me drop off because that was a foul. So there we go. That's going to be a score. The victory dance, and it's waiting for the right side to do the kickoff, in which we're going to override by dropping the ball so it's play on. So see, this is a simple 1-in-1 agent that we're supposed to look for, but this is some other team's binary, so we need to make our own. But the idea for the library is that it handles all the background communication and management of the classes for us, so we don't have to do all that. Basically, the low level trouble you stuff. Now, the problem with this library is that it's by two guys named Hideyushi Akiyama and Hiroki Shimura. That means, well, there is no HTML API for this whole library. Well, there is one, and the problem with that is all in Japanese. So it's not that bad, because if you're looking at the source code itself, for example, the abstract player object class, there's documentation in English, well, Asian English, about all the fields and functions. So if you read the template, go through it file by file, you could, but this is the player, folder with all the stuff according to a player, all the library files, including the source. So there's quite a bit of stuff to read. But the library is nonetheless there and will make our lives easier. Another thing I need to say is for the Sim 3D. In terms of the Soccer Simulation League, the Sim 3, they use the same simulation server almost. It's a same Spark. And if you're gonna go to their homepage, which I have closed, that might be a bad idea. Let's wait for it to load. So it goes to the main page to have the introduction and concepts. You guys should also read over at least the preceptors, effectors, and models. And I read over all of them, and like including the server and the network protocol stuff. But with the library, you just need to really know how the preceptor effector works and understand the model of the robot to really get work on it. So essentially, a preceptor is a sensor. It's how you get input from the world or yourself on the agent. And effector is basically the actuators. It's where you give output to the world. So, for example, and then in the model, you say this is the robot we're working with. The now, this is simulated now. You see, it's really nicely simulated, and there's basically the schematics of the now. So this is sort of what we try to look for in building our humanoid robot. And now has all it doesn't have any universal joints. Yeah, it's all hinge joint. If you're looking at preceptors, there should be two types of joints: hinge joint and universal joint. Basically, a hinge joint is one-dimensional along one axis. Universal joint is has variation in two axes. The now has only hinge joints. So that makes our life easier because it's one motor from one joint, and the design is simpler in a sense. Now, I did find a few nice libraries for the 3D as well, which is a lot better than the 2D. So, let me just run the 3D simulation server and show you guys. I actually found two libraries that I found are pretty good for the 3D simulation. I'm going to show you guys the ones by the little green bat, just because they have better documentation. For example, you see they have this nice user manual for the introduction usages, and also they have this XML documentation for all the classes and all the functions. So it's pretty intensely documented, even in the source code. Well, not even in the source code, but it should be expected to be in the source code as well. And it is. Okay, without further ado, let me try. This is the Hello World agent that I compiled using their introduction manual. So here, let me run the. Oops. Wait, ours. Oh. Let me run this 3D simulation server. Okay. Now let's run our Hello World agent. You see, our agent is there. If you know, if you have played around the simulator before, if you just you run the sample agent provided by the simulation server, the robot stands there with their arm in the front. Does absolutely nothing. This one is in the Hello World example, the sample client provided by the little bats. Their sample client waves the arm around by feeding a sinusoidal function to the shoulder joints, and we can easily modify this to change it. So here, if you just disable the movement of one of the arms and compile it again, we'll get a client that basically waves one arm at us. So let's do this. The world example. So we have this nice little robot that waves one arm at us, and the interface handles all the communication to the server for us, and it gives us a fairly, actually a lot of freedom. So in this code is that you're controlling each individual joints separately, and that how many joints you have is described in the model. These are all the list of joints and where they are on the robot. So this is something we can use to get started on the algorithm for walking, for getting up, so recovery from falling, etc. So this is really nice. And yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. Thanks.